Welcome to our Thoughts Your Thoughts, a show where we talk about the things you want to talk about
and the things you don't want to talk about. The NFL is right around the corner. Season starts on Thursday, so starts in 3 days. Based on anything you may have looked up, who do you... Okay, I'm not saying pick who's going to win the Super Bowl. Who do you think will be in the final game? Like, who do you think will make the Super Bowl?
What's his name? What's his name? The commissioner.
You're such a goof. I'm talking about the teams, man.
Yo, that's one big team. The owners group is one big team. They all win regardless. They make money, man.
You are a goof.
Listen, honestly, Jet, you know where I stand. I'm not a big fan of...
You don't stand. There you go.
I'm not a big fan of the NFL.
This is true.
For many political reasons, so I don't feel like I should be supporting them one way or another. Even though a lot of young black men find an escape through playing football, right? That I love and I respect and I appreciate that because it takes a lot of sacrifice and talent to make it in the league, right?
Fair.
Meaning, for the guys who are there right now, there's 10,000 more who tried and couldn't make it and got to find other ways of making it, right? But I don't know. Like, I really can't tell you who's gonna go far, who's gonna win. Like, I'm still thinking that Ray Lewis is still playing.
Okay then.
Like, I was looking at some team rosters. I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know anything about anything. The biggest thing I know is, it's showing my age, but the biggest thing I know is Odell Beckham being traded to Cincinnati.
Cleveland.
See? See? I know nothing. But that...
You were in the right state, just the wrong city.
That's a fluke. So, anyways, we'll go back to that because the Odell Beckham Jr. thing has a lot to do with the Diva thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate. Continue.
Oh, well, I saw an interview with Odell Beckham. Not an interview, but he wrote through an interview that he feels that New York traded him, they got rid of him at a bad price just to send him to Cleveland to mess with his career, to get rid of him because he was becoming too big and too much of a distraction for the team.
Usually Cleveland is where players go to die. Yeah, okay.
But he's saying, yo, I ain't gonna die. I'm gonna flourish.
Their team is nice, yeah.
And I think someone like him, he goes, like, his personality is so much bigger than football. He's like Beckham. He's like a David Beckham. He's like the American version of David Beckham. Like, he's fashion, he's culture, he's athletic, he's well respected. You know, he does things on the field that a lot of other athletes can't do.
True.
You know, he gets a lot of respect. So, yeah,
True.
I don't think sending him to Cleveland is gonna do anything to his career. I think it's gonna create more of a narrative of him being a martyr, but also him, overcoming obstacles and stuff.
He arguably has a better quarterback too, so they kind of messed up on that one. But and that's the thing. Like, I don't personally think that he should have been traded. I think it was actually better for him. They traded him to a team, and now he gets to play with his best friend.
Who?
Jarvis Landry. That's his best friend. They played college ball together. Now they get to play together in the NFL, which I feel like was something they always dreamed about. So at the same time, it's like you did him a favor, right? But when to cut ties with a player, it's like, look at now. Right now, the Raiders, they have to deal with Antonio Brown. The guy went into a cryogenic chamber or whatever, frostbit his feet. Then
How are you gonna overlook
I don't know, man. then everyone has to switch helmets. He's the only one in the entire league who puts up a stink. I don't want to switch helmets now. And the thing was approved by the NFL Players Association. He's making a stink about it, going to court, getting appeals, all this other stuff. At what point, if you have a superstar, do you have to cut ties or trade him or bench him?
At what point when it starts affecting the results? Because at the end of the day, they tolerate that if you're able to produce and you're able to generate income for them. But if the return is less than what you're putting into it, cut it.
But
you need to cut it.
But what if the return on that individual player is up to par, but not the team? So, like, if you have one player who puts up a bunch of stats, but the team doesn't win, so what do you do there?
It's that Carmelo dilemma.
Okay, yeah,
right. So Carmelo Anthony, individually, he puts up great numbers, but in a team environment, he fucks shit up for everybody because he's kind of like Antonio Brown, where it's all about him.
Russell Westbrook.
Well, Russell Westbrook is more of a team player than what's his name?
Melo.
Than Melo. Russell will give you buckets. Russell will give you rebounds. Russell will die for the ball, even though, like, you know, some people will say he's a ball hog, but when he's on the court, he puts it all out on the line. Yeah, he's not a. You're never worried that Russell won't play hard, but someone like Carmelo, that's a different story.
That's true. That's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, he becomes first before the team, and that to me I'm not down with, right? But with Antonio Brown, like to put up a stink about the helmet, unless it's like a medical thing. If you can prove it's a medical thing, I think that becomes more of a distraction. Like, dude, you're talking about a helmet, right?
I think the medical thing is it's messing up his hair.
Diva.
I'm a diva.
What position does he play?
Wide receiver. It is known as the diva position.
Yeah. They are
not hating on all you receivers out there, but come on, y'all know what the preconceived notion of wide receivers is.
When it comes to, like, you know what? Under Armour would have never made any money if there wasn't any receivers in the league.
Really?
Think about it. Who were the first people to wear the Under Armour shirts and the
like the tights?
The tights and
okay.
All receivers.
Swag.
Right? Like,
okay, fair.
They care about what they look because they're extremely insecure.
Fair.
Receivers are like dudes who are athletic enough to be basketball players, but wasn't good enough to be basketball players that ended up in playing football, right?
Fair.
But they still want the notoriety of being seen and heard like the basketball players. You know?
Okay, fair. So basically what you're saying is if a diva starts to affect the team's bottom line, cut him. Okay.
If they're not responding to the team environment and the overall goal of the team, cut them. Because you don't want to encourage other players, especially subpar players, to start acting that way too.
Fair. Okay.
What are your thoughts on it, Jet?
I agree. Like if someone's being a distraction and making themselves bigger than the team, okay, like I understand having a personality, but if you know that like it's gonna cost the team, it's gonna be a distraction to the team, then you gotta go.
Yeah, you
gotta go. It is what it is. Like I'd rather, like right now, everybody was like, oh, you know, Pittsburgh Steelers gave up Antonio Brown for way too little. Now with all the headaches that the Raiders are having now, basically the Steelers are just like, told you. Y'all can have them. Told you.
Yeah. So like it reminds me of like work. Like imagine you get a new person working with you on your team, and they hire him because he can produce numbers.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, that person's personality puts the morale down in the entire workforce.
Yep.
So what happens is he puts up the numbers while other people's numbers start going down.
Yep.
And if he decides to go, what happens to you? Now you're left with nothing.
True.
Right? You're left with people who are now underperforming and disgruntled and who are looking for ways out.
Yep.
So once you get to that point, or you feel like you're getting to that point, changes need to happen.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, we've given these divas enough of our time.
Okay. Bim.